Hello, welcome to the HolmFront. I am Tyler, your host, and to my right, as always, is my overly artistic friend Mitch. Mitch.
Hello.
So we're so excited for this. So we're doing another trailer. I think you said it best. Trailer review video because
Yeah, but
React is kind of
it's not really a reaction because we've both already seen the trailer, but we just want to talk about it and also talk about Marvel stuff. But
Oh well, way to give it away. Well, I was gonna say because these things always go so long.
uh-huh.
We're not just watching the trailer. We're gonna talk a little bit. But yeah, it's gonna lead into. I mean, like the James Gunn one led to some longer conversations and as a whole, like DC and Marvel and James
It's probably
Gunn.
because they are by their very nature part of a larger whole rather than just isolated. So it's hard to just review like, do you want to see this movie? It's not a random movie. It's a it's in this context. So
Right.
Yeah. But all that to say, we're going to be nice to Tyler. It probably says trailer reaction in the thumbnail. Thumbnails are actually a lot of extra effort to change, so you could just do reaction. I've covered you. You no longer have to put review.
Thanks, appreciate that. Well, are you ready to just jump in then?
Yeah, let's watch it.
Okay. Yeah.
Especially because I didn't really pay attention last time I saw it, so I'll really focus this time.
And if you're not familiar, this is the Captain America Brave New World trailer.
Okay.
So okay, and just
Was
so
that
you know,
Samuel L. Jackson?
no.
Oh.
That is a character that he met in the Falcon and Winter Soldier TV show.
Oh,
He's
okay,
like
yeah.
an old time super soldier from back in the day. That was one of the angles they took on it.
Okay.
Like they didn't want to remember him because of old time prejudice.
Well, Harrison Ford is a good pick for president. I could see him.
I mean, he's a good pick anyway. He's gonna appeal. Like he's Harrison Ford.
Wow. It's not a horror movie. That was weird.
Yeah. See how they're doing like this kind of espionage spy look to it.
Yeah. Well, doesn't Captain America have that?
Yeah.
That looks.
It's not Captain America anymore. It's. Yeah, agreed. He's not Steve Rogers. That's the problem.
You have a lot of opinions about this movie.
Yes, can't help it.
He flies.
Isn't that pretty neat?
Wait a minute.
He
took off his helmet, but then he
dumb.
still had his glasses.
They're not going
on.
to shoot him in the face. You can trust some people sometimes, probably. Bunch of generic lines.
Generic lines away.
Who's playing who? Just come on.
The action looks like intense. Okay, is this the Russo brothers? Did they do this movie too or no?
I do not know.
I'm going to look that up. I feel like that matters.
It does matter. That's fair. Some of the visuals look good. I'll give you that. There's Gideon playing Gideon again.
Oh, I'm supposed to be looking at the trailer and I'm looking at
how,
the Russo
how dare you?
Sorry, I said I would pay attention. Oh, so he's a Hulk now?
Yeah. You can tell by the way he is.
Brave New World like the novel?
Shh.
Okay, I actually did not see this particular trailer. I saw a different one. It was like a teaser or something.
Ah.
Okay.
Are you checking the directors to see if it's the Russo brothers?
Is it them or let's find out.
Great question. I do not know. If it is, the action will be good. I mean, it looks like it's got decent action. Is it the Russo brothers?
It is no.
Of course not.
Someone else who did.
That helps.
The Girl is in Trouble.
Never heard of it.
The Cloverfield Paradox.
Seen that?
And Loose.
Never seen that.
Okay, I don't. Yeah, so new guy. But I mean,
okay.
I imagine. Okay, so they have like a I forget who it is, but like Marvel has like a team or a couple of people who are really good at choreography for all the fight stuff, and they like handle, from what I understand, almost everything.
You talking
So
about
if
the stunt
that stuff
coordinators?
looks good, yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if that stuff looks good, that's just sort of par for the course at this point
Yeah.
with Marvel.
Yeah, it's just
Like the visual
normal.
effects, I'm sure they have their team that
Yeah.
goes in and does it. Okay, but like, yeah, let's talk about the substance. So you're the one who really wants to like do an incision on this trailer.
Oh,
What's
no.
the problem?
I just figured we'd do a react video on it because
Yeah.
why not? It's one of those things coming up. The thing about okay, so the only problems I've had with this is that apparently it's gone through multiple reshoots, so it's not.
Oh, yeah, they changed the title like 18 times, didn't they?
Well, and then I think they've done a bunch of reshoots, and there's been a bunch of test screenings that haven't gone well. So,
Man.
Again, I don't know how much of that is necessarily relevant. What I do want to focus on, though, is the title, because Brave New World has very specific connotations,
It does.
and Marvel doesn't seem to have the space for any of them. So I'm curious as to like what you think about using that title in a Marvel property, specifically one that has to do with a Captain America that's not Captain America, because this is the number 4. I think it's 4th
I guess it's 4.
Captain America movie,
Mm-hmm.
but this is no longer Steve Rogers. We're now jumping
But it's
into
same universe because
Right.
Falcon is
he-
someone he
yeah,
knew. So
hands over the torch of the shield.
um,
So, being a teacher in literature,
yeah, no, because I teach Brave New World from time to time. That's the Aldous Huxley, I think is how you pronounce his name. He's a British author, and Brave New World is, of course, if you're not familiar, it's like a
classic dystopian.
dystopic, impression of like what the world will become. It's, in my view, and I think most people would agree, it's the scariest dystopic literature piece because if it ever were to happen, it's like humanity is doomed. There's no way to recover from it. Whereas like other scenarios, they're bad, but it's always like, well, potentially you could have some rebel alliance to like go and like destroy the system or whatever. Like it could still feasibly happen.
Sure. Brave New
But-
World feels like it's kind of crusted over and it's just over.
Because the whole idea of Brave New World is that you essentially convince people to adore their slavery, their servitude. So they won't rebel because they prefer it this way.
This is the way that it should be.
Yeah. And they have no vision for what life could be like outside of it. So that's what's so terrifying about Brave New World. But it wasn't as necessarily like, it's not a horror novel. He wrote it because he was making predictions about where humanity was headed as a whole. And funnily enough, too, after he wrote it, he like waited, I think it was like 20 years, and then he went back and reviewed the book to see like how close we had become.
How far we had progressed.
How far we progressed towards it. And he found that we had progressed towards it much faster than he had anticipated. So it was not a very hopeful
Read
opening.
the novel, by the way. Would recommend.
It's a great novel. It's
kind of terrifying.
Very terrifying, and it's very cerebral.
Yeah.
He does a lot of experimental things to just kind of get inside your head. And I don't see Marvel doing any of that.
No.
With this movie.
There
or any
might,
other
to be fair,
properties.
there might be a comic that uses the title, but again, even so, it's still derivative of the classic novel.
I guess the other thing too is it's not American, so I'm not sure.
What's an American? Oh,
It's
Brave
not
New
an
World.
American
Yeah.
author. It's not like it just kind of. I mean, like Fahrenheit 451. That's a American author,
Right.
so
Also
it's
in the dystopian vein.
Yeah, I'm just saying, and not that it has to be,
Sure.
but I just kind of, I don't know. It's like everything's different. Like it's not America.
I
It's
don't like
Britain.
things that are different.
It's not Captain America. It's Falcon. It's not Green Hulk. It's Red Hulk. So it's just like all the Marvel things except not. So I guess it's
Goes
weird because
derivative
of that.
a derivation. Just
yeah, I guess so. Yeah, does that answer your question?
I think so.
I think it's a weird, like, I don't know. I would, if it was me, I wouldn't do it. I'm assuming there must be some comic that references Brave New World and does like a whole like, oh, this dystopic future about governments taking over control. I don't know why you wouldn't just use it 1984 though, because that's what they did, was this like oligarchy, like authoritative thing. Brave New World is like insidious because you just slowly change the culture and then the people create this horrible situation.
Right.
So I don't know how But this looks like Harrison Ford is the bad guy. He's an evil president.
Well, yeah, because he turns red. You can tell. That's how. In
Wait.
Star Wars, that's how you can tell.
Okay, maybe so. I guess I'm just all over the place, but like, I have to know. It just keeps eating away at me. So, like, what is Red Hulk? Who is Red Hulk? Do you know anything about this character? No. Okay, I don't know anything about this character. So I don't know if he's a villain or good. He looked like a villain because he was fighting the good guy.
He's red, so
he was red. He was very red,
and he was fighting the guy in white. So
my other question though is that, and I don't mean this mean to Mr. Ford, but he's getting up there in years. I just don't really see him in being physically competent to be Red Hulk. And that's like also, I'll say that about myself too. I don't think I could play a Red Hulk. I think I could play like a yellow Hulk. No, I'm just kidding. Or a purple one.
I was like, where's he going with this?
I'm assuming, like, what do they do to make a person play a Hulk? How does that work?
They just CGI his face onto,
So does he just
CGI
go like
monstrosity?
And then...
Well, yeah, I imagine they just 3D map his face. I don't know. I don't know the background of it. They just made it look like him. I mean, he doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like somebody goes roids up into a Hulk.
I get
status.
that, but like something. So he's just a CGI monster.
Well, yeah,
and that's what Mark Ruffalo is as well.
Yeah. I imagine he wears a suit for some of the like lighter scenes in order to get. But I mean, that's the technical background.
I thought they had like a suit. And he would do like some stuff.
Well,
like obviously, there's a lot of things he can't do.
Right. Well, they've advanced quite a bit now, but I mean, it's not just him doing it. They're going to have a stunt double and stuff doing all the kind of heavy lifting.
Doesn't Robert Downey Jr. wear his Iron Man suit and they're shooting him in the suit from time to time?
That's a little different, but yes.
Okay.
That's a lot different.
That's all I'm asking for.
The one scene that we've gone totally in the weeds now. That one thing that I remember seeing is the first Avengers film. They had a stand-in to kind of give. Because remember Thor jumps on his back and he's like trying to choke him out with a hammer. It's when they're fighting on the jet or whatever when he goes kind of crazy.
Anyways, I think so. Is that in Avengers, the first one?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he jumps on his back, and so they have to like wrap him around something to make it look realistic. Right. So they made the suit kind of bulky, this weird, but I mean it's all like green.
Yeah.
So they just can switch it out to what Hulk's supposed to look like.
Yeah.
When it comes to this, I mean they just 3D map his face onto. Okay. Whatever it is. So it just weirdly enough looks like a Harrison Ford Hulk.
I guess what I'm saying is I don't know who it was who needed to see Harrison Ford as a Red Hulk.
Me.
But we have it now. Okay, so he's a Red Hulk for some reason. He wants to take over the world because he's an evil president. I feel like this movie, I almost like don't even pay attention to the Brave New World tag. I mean, they kept changing the title and they were like worried about like political fallout. But like, I mean, you called it Brave New World. What did you expect? And there's lots of people nowadays who just want to talk about how the world's going to end and how there's like, we're all going to be under some kind of totalitarian rule.
Right.
Which I think is, I mean, just as my personal stance, I think it's a bit ridiculous and overdrawn. But it's also like, the fear stems from like, the ever-present globalism that we're going under. So it feels like with all that said, it's like they want to toy in that conversation, but not too much. Kind of like Civil War, that movie last year, where it's just like, this is about a new Civil War in America, but I don't want to say anything because I'm too scared.
I don't have a stance on where I stand on it. I just know that this is.
I just know that you guys are talking about it, and it's like, well, maybe we shouldn't be talking about it. So why do you need to make something about it?
Yeah, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't, but there's clear connotations when you use that title. And for me, if I'm watching a Marvel film, Marvel rarely, if ever, delves into a territory that comes close to being as thoughtful or cerebral as something like Brave New World. Brave New World is a warning.
Yeah.
When you read that, you're supposed to understand that, like, this is what we're not supposed to do. This is where we're not supposed to end.
Right.
That's what dystopian novels are supposed to do. 1984, Fahrenheit 51. Like,
and science fiction in general, which this merges slightly into that territory.
Slightly.
Which is where they justify it, I guess.
And I'm not saying something like a comic book can't have commentary like that. But from my experience with Marvel, especially lately, doesn't have a lot of depth in its commentary. It's actually pretty shallow. especially when I've watched something like Falcon and Winter Soldier, which is this thing that came before this. Like that was the show that kind of established Falcon as Captain America.
Well, he was in the Captain America movies, right?
Yeah, and he hands the shield over, but that show is where he kind of starts taking it on.
Okay.
And becomes like Captain America, whatever, with Bucky, which I still think Bucky should have been Captain America.
I don't like Bucky as a character. I can't stand that character. Okay, let's get out of opinions though.
Sure.
And let's talk about a different kind of opinion. Because okay, so tell me, like, all right, you're making Captain America 4. I'm writing you a check. You could do whatever you want. What would you have rather seen? What do you want?
Good Lord. So am I pretending like I'm living in the reality we're in now, and I just get the project?
Yeah,
with no rules.
Yeah, you have to work within the rules of like this already
Marvel,
exists.
yeah.
And I would say like you have to like Mark Ruffalo is Hulk, so if you want Hulk in your movie, you got to get Mark Ruffalo to sign on. He'll do it, but like you have to, you can't just make like a new Hulk person. It has to be Mark Ruffalo. We're not changing that because he's part of this canon that we're doing right now. So it needs to be part of the MCU canon. But it can be whatever else you want. Because to me, I see this trailer and I'm just like, Marvel movie, and I'll go and see it. Well, maybe if we're gonna review it or something, and they're all kind of. I mean, the Marvel movies are very similar. They're all kind of the same thing. So it's like there's a few that are like really good, and then a few that are pretty terrible, and then everything else is just kind of like it's like a bell curve. So with this movie, that's mostly my reaction. So I'm kind of curious, like you're like looking at this going like, no, this is wrong. This is all wrong. So I'm like, all right, what do I do as the producer?
Not that it's all wrong necessarily, because like it does look very generic Marvel. I'll give you that. Like and it's.
I thought that was their goal. Like
fairly formulaic. My fear, if fear's the right word, is that this will, like, for once, it has the connotation of Brave New World, which
you don't like.
Well, I don't think it's appropriate. I mean,
okay,
I don't. If you're gonna delve into something like Brave New World or use that name, like you should. I mean, that's pretty deep commentary, and Marvel's not. It's not.
I see.
Territory for that commentary, or it hasn't been historically.
So it's an unjustified.
I don't see it as justified. I see it as like you're just using the title because people recognize it rather than being willing to take on the source material and merge it into this world that is Marvel.
Yeah.
If you have a commentary like that, I mean, maybe it'll surprise me. I'll give it that benefit of the doubt.
Sure.
But it doesn't seem like this is set up to where it's going to be able to handle that level of commentary.
No, probably
culturally.
not. I mean, maybe, but I wouldn't expect it from it.
So I'm going in with questions because, like, I'm familiar with Brave New World, and to me, it's like, well, okay, I just don't see it as being capable of doing that, for one. For two, Marvel has just been floundering with its content in general, and it doesn't seem to know what to do with itself, and this just looks like the same thing, which, I guess hold it against it or don't. If I were to have some kind of creative control, I'd want to actually like bring it back to something reminiscent of its old days and like try and revitalize the brand. And Captain America seems to be a really good place to do that because it's like what started it, for one, kind of. There's a bunch of technicalities there, but Captain America is kind of where like between him and Iron Man.
Well, he's a grounding force, so I could see that.
Right, and he's arguably the best character throughout the original movies.
Yeah. I think some people would say Iron Man as well, but yeah, one of the two.
Yeah, well, they're the two strongest characters.
Not Hulk, that's for sure.
And technically, Hulk was the first MCU film, but anyway, outside of all that, like Red Hulk seems like an odd idea for this. It's just it's a weird concept. Like the whole thing, just very strange. And to me, like if I were to do it, I would probably, and this is breaking my rule, but also it's Marvel, so I would probably jump over to the universe where Steve Rogers went to hang out with Peggy and see what he did. Like maybe he has adventures over there that I would just go follow because I'm like, I would rather keep Chris Evans as Captain America. He's living in this alternate reality that might provide some interesting avenues. And not to have him like jump back and forth or have one of our characters go to his reality, but like to just follow him in that reality might be interesting. Just kind of like, I don't know, alternate Cap or something.
Yeah. Okay. So I have 3 responses to 3 of the things you brought up.
Okay.
So you said, well, I think I'll have to go backwards because memory fails
it.
me. So you said, have Chris Evans be Captain America again. This guy's not Captain America. He's just Falcon. So it's weird that they're calling him Captain America. And I get they gave him the shield and stuff, but Falcon is his own character, isn't he?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, it'd be like if, you know.
That's what the whole show is about, was like he didn't want to be Captain America. He didn't want to take the shield and the mantle. And then at the end he does, and that's when he does the lecture. You got to do better, Senator. I'm never going to not reference that line. It's such a great line.
I was laughing so hard I was crying.
That was
Oh my
so
gosh,
good.
when I saw that.
You need to do better.
He's like,
I know. And the senator's like, he's so right.
Shut up. Like a 6-year-old's impression of like how this conversation would go. What? I can't believe. Imagine being an actor on set when they said to do that. I'd be like, I can't do this.
Is this how adults talk to you?
I'd be like, this is.
I think the senator would be like, he's right.
Okay, but it just feels like one superhero eating another superhero's lunch. Like, how come it's not just a Falcon movie? Is that not okay? Can we have a Falcon movie? Is that?
Well, he's not as recognizable as Captain America, so.
Yeah, but he's not Captain America.
But
He's
if
just
you're marketing and he has taken over the mantle,
well, but I mean, look at it this way: it's like you've got a Falcon America, and you don't have Hulk. You have Red Hulk. So it's just like variations and derivative. It's all derivative.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just all like nothing's like accurate. And a part of that is like, that's to be expected because, some of the actors get tired of playing a character. Like, I don't think Chris Evans wants to be played by Captain America anymore. I think he's done with it. Which is like fair enough. He's done a lot of movies as the character. He's kind of done, wants to do other things. So that's fair. And I get that. But then I also like, and then it's also like you see Harrison Ford and you're like, well, Harrison Ford is not too tired of this. Like,
he's just getting paid, which is what it's always been about for him. He's just like,
yeah. So I just feel like I get it. Like, this is Harrison Ford's first Marvel movie, but also like, he's not too old to act, I guess is what I'm saying. So I'm like, is it so hard to just do the occasional Captain America role and then just do other stuff?
You mean for Chris Evans?
Yeah.
Who knows? I mean, that I don't proclaim to know like what these people are thinking or what they want to do with their careers, but you were asking if I had no limits.
Yeah.
Then that's the film I would make. I would just be like, I want Chris Evans back. I don't.
Well, yeah, no, I appreciate that, and I'm kind of bringing it back into like what's now going to be feasible.
Sure.
Because I guess because I try not to hold the film responsible for things that it can't control, but I do agree with you on your point that like, is this like the only course of action we have? Is like make Falcon Captain America, and then it's like you said, we could done alternate reality Captain America potentially. Sure. You could get a new actor to play some potentially, but then it would seem like you're kind of. I feel like you would be like putting Falcon to the sidelines because then what's he gonna do? Because he's supposed to be like Captain America's friend. So I agree that would be kind of a dumb play. But there's so right now Marvel's in this weird space, and I think they're uncomfortable and they don't know what to do. They're an awkward teen now.
Right.
And they're like coming into their body, and it just feels strange and surreal.
Well,
because
I would actually argue that I think that they did the full growing up process through those first bunch of films, and now they don't like.
So they're like an immature adult. They don't know.
Right. Now they're just trying to relive the old days and then try to make it seem new. So it's just like it's like you're trying to live in the past.
The weird thing that I don't understand from Marvel, because this is something that the comics do, and I think they do it really well. I mean, as someone who's not really read them, but like the comics will have overarching storylines, and then that story arc resolves, and then they write new comics.
Well, I think
to go through new storylines.
I think they were trying to do that, and then they had a bunch of debacles with a bunch of the actors. Specifically, their next big bad. He had a legal incident that removed him from filming.
Who is this?
I forget his name.
Well, who did he play?
He was playing, I think it's Kang or something like that. He's another like.
Oh, wait. Oh, I'm sorry. You're talking about the guy who's a head. He was supposed to be the next big villain.
No.
He's just like a talking head.
No, it's another like.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know enough about the comics, so I'm not going to jump into that too much. I just know what he was supposed to have been, and he shows up in a couple films. Ant-Man is one of them. I think Quantum Mania or something. I did not watch this movie.
That's the one where there's a giant head villain.
Yeah, not him. The
okay. Because that one I don't see being on the level of Thanos.
Gross. But I think they were trying to do something different than Thanos as well, because they'd already done the Thanos arc, so they wanted something new.
Yeah.
But then this guy had his issues, and so they played around with a couple ideas, and they may still be going with this one, but they were going with Doctor Doom, from what I understand, and that's when Robert Downey Jr. showed up.
But that made no sense because he's Iron Man.
Again, it's Marvel. They just try and break whatever rules they want to in order to get people to come see it.
So,
but again, that's a problem that I have. Is like, dude, I get that Robert Downey Jr. has this reputation in Marvel, but you've already established his character and resolved his arc. Like, why would he come back as Doctor Doom? Like, well, in an alternate reality, you might be. It's like, I don't like that though. I mean, just
no.
Why are you taking that opportunity from someone else who might be able to do a decent job and win, hearts over to him? Like, it just seems very odd decisions, and that's what I'm getting from this one as well. This trailer, because I don't want to go too far off into the weeds any further. Like, I think I'll watch it and I'll evaluate it on its merits. But again, it's starting off on, I think, just problems that it's like trying too hard to do too many things, rather than like you said, allowing him to be Falcon. Like, he won enough people over for who he is, and you've never given me a reason to think that this character would be able to stand up against a Hulk. So that part is another thing.
It's like whatever.
It's like okay.
Okay, I feel like, I mean, I agree. I just also like, it is an awkward problem.
Yeah,
but there's no way, for some reason to them, there's no way out of it. They're like, they feel like they're trapped. We're like, okay, we can either wipe the whole thing that we did and start fresh. Not a bad idea, to be perfectly frank. If a lot of the actors don't want to continue, then you can get fresh blood in there, and I'm sure there's plenty of people who would love a role like Iron Man or Captain America. And it's like, the only problem you have to address then is getting people on board with the new casting decisions. But you made good casting decisions in the past. I mean, look at Tom Holland. Like, everybody, and Andrew Garfield, like, everybody loved Tobey Maguire, but we adjusted. And they always do Spider-Man movies like, they just pump them out. It's like you can only go like 5 years. That's like the max before you get more Spider-Man.
You'll see something.
Yeah, and that's and there's the new Miles Morales ones, and I guess that's animated, but like still, he's like a very well liked Spider-Man as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so it's not like you can't have someone else play Captain America and Iron Man and the whole gang. It's just weird when you take someone who we know is Iron Man and then say, well, he's Doctor Doom now.
Or someone who is Falcon and now he's Captain America now.
Yeah. It's like we kind of had everybody's roles in our head because of what you did.
Right.
And then now you're saying it's the same but different. And it's like, I don't know who's going to want same but different. Yeah, exactly. Who wants same but different? It's like, I don't know. It just feels like, do something new, or like, again, just find a new villain arc and then infuse that into it and get everybody on board and be like, this is the new villain arc. You all get a separate movie, and then you can do Avenger movie or whatever. Like, I don't mind the Marvel, like the old ways. It was fine. The only thing I really just detested, it was how much it was. That was the part that just grated on me, is that it just felt like it was like a Marvel movie every other month, and I was just so tired of it after a while, and that's all anybody would want to talk about. So that's what bothered me so much. It wasn't the fact that they existed. It wasn't that I like hated them. I just felt like they were passable, fun action movies, and then everybody was just like, that's all there is, and they're just being excited or whatever. But I just feel like, maybe we do it, because now they're like, well, let's slow down. But then they have shows, and you have to watch the shows. Like you're pointing out, you're like, this guy's from the show. I'm like, okay, who? Like, I don't, so it's just kind of
I don't like that. I don't like that you have to watch the shows to follow the films.
Are you going to like anything Marvel does at this point, though? Because based on your criteria, as I'm understanding, I feel like it's impossible. The only thing they could do is do like one of the two suggestions I'm saying. Massive party wipe, start from scratch, or you bring everybody back.
Well, like I said,
as the same characters that they
I'm
were.
willing to acknowledge that maybe this will surprise me. I'm not saying that it is going to be bad. I'd like to make that clear. It just seems like it's got the
But it doesn't
hallmark.
excite you, is what I'm saying.
No, not necessarily. There
Yeah.
wasn't anything in there that would like make me want to go. Like I watched the Dune trailer and I'm like, I'm in that seat.
Yeah.
I'm seeing that movie.
Well, it's new.
Well, there's
And
that,
it's going
but
to finish the story that you're invested
but
in.
also I know that there's people there that are working on this film that have a passion about the source material. For one, for two, it's like it doesn't have to have source material for me to appreciate that. But I know that as an artist, Denis is going to deliver something that I will like for the most part, right? Maybe something I disagree with, but like when I look at something like this, it falls under the formula of something who has consistently pumped out failures, for one. For two, does not seem to care about the artistic merit of its properties. At least it has historically not after Endgame, I would say. And I've seen stuff like that in like the Doctor Strange, for instance, is my prime example for what happened after them. Is like I like Sam Raimi.
Yeah.
And I could tell where his influences were bleeding through in the film. But then it felt like there was just so much interference with the Marvel overlords that it was just like two different movies. And it was so conflicted that I was like, I'd rather just watch Sam Raimi's take on this. I want to just watch his version of Doctor Strange. I don't really care about... Because at least that would have been different and new and interesting. And like, why else would you hire Sam Raimi? I mean... He's got this reputation, and so you're just kind of trying to pull on those strings for people like me who are going for a Sam Raimi film, but also trying to throw in your stuff, which is, again, what the problem I have with Brave New World as a title is like, okay, so you're just trying to appeal to people who understand what that means, but then you're not going to fully commit to it. So when I sit down, it's not going to deliver on that fully. It's just going to be like, I got more Marvel money, more Marvel bucks because I use this name.
You're thinking too much. It's a Marvel property.
Probably, yeah. It's stupid me. So that's, I mean,
yeah. No, I mean that's all very fair. I think. I also, it's kind of like maybe, my earlier suggestion. One of them is actually not good because I was just thinking, if you slow down like they're doing now, and it's just the occasional Marvel movie. Then they sort of come out with zero enthusiasm. There was something that really worked about just flooding the market with Marvel movies and being like, you're going to watch it. I always associated it as they were building to like larger movies that would have the characters, collaborate. And that would be cool. And that was cool. But I guess a part of it too was just the fact that there wasn't anything else to see, or like there was seemingly nothing else to see because it had such a dominance. Yeah, exactly. And now that it pops up just on the occasion, it's almost like a cartoon show. It's like the next episode. And it just feels like...
Stay tuned next week, folks.
Whatever. But here's a way they could revitalize that. If they wanted to do this slow drip feed, which I don't think they want to do, I just think they feel like they have to do because they can't get everybody to collaborate anymore because
there's that, and they're getting a lot of negative press just in general with most of their properties. So they're probably
a lot of it has to do with those stupid shows. Cancel the darn shows. Get rid of them.
No.
And then what I would do if I was I don't know, I don't have any right to say this, I guess, but if I was them, I would just be like, cancel all these stupid shows, get rid of them all. I don't want any shows. They just like, I want nice, cool visual effects, and I just feel like you can't really do it nicely, and it shows. It just feels like a compromise, and I don't want compromise.
Quality over quantity.
I want quality for one.
Are you insane?
But the other thing I would do is I would DCify it. And I know what you're thinking, like that's crazy, but I would just pick people who want to tell Marvel stories and like let them go crazy. So I would find some director, like a Christopher Nolan type, who's like kind of a big shot in Hollywood now and has like made some good movies and is like, I've got a cool idea. I mean, I wouldn't actually do Christopher Nolan, but you get what I'm saying? Just like someone who has a cool idea. How about that guy who does the Mission Impossible movies? Actually, he's a really good director, at least visually. Like I really like his visual style. No. The newer ones.
I don't know.
I don't remember his name. But, I'd get a competent writer who's always wanted to tell a Captain America story. I would get him, and I'd be like, okay, now go make a Captain America movie. And it would just be his Captain America movie. He can do whatever he wants. It's completely removed. The MCU is taking a break, taking a big hiatus.
They do that with the show What If, and that's just their variations of What if this person was Captain America?
I said you missed rule number 1.
No.
No shows.
No. It's it already exists.
Because this is the part that DC doesn't, and to convince everybody, I would say yes, it doesn't work for DC, but we're not DC, so we will prove them wrong. This is how they should do their own
Arguably,
format.
Marvel has a more established identity than DC. Fair.
It does, and DC, the whole problem is all they do is trust Batman as their Lord and Savior. And then
Batman
everybody
and Superman
else,
we trust.
just whatever. Well, no, not even Superman, because now I appreciate that they're taking a chance with James Gunn and the new Superman look. I'm like, okay, sure, the new Superman. Let's give it a try at least. Your fears, of course, is that they will try to Marvelize it, but the goal is not to Marvelize. The goal is it's independent. It's completely on its own. It doesn't connect in any way. There's no connection.
Maybe.
Because Batman films, look at them. They're all super successful. Why? You gave all the creative vision onto
Whomever.
this one man or whoever it was.
Nolan and Burton and Reeves.
Yeah. You let them have a Batman project and you'll get something cool out of it and everybody will enjoy it. So I just kind of feel like, why can't we do that? If you're going to do this MCU connective tissue thing, then it's you got to play by the rules that you established. And that means Robert Downey Jr. cannot be Dr. Doom.
Yes, he can.
It just makes zero sense. He's Iron Man or he's not in it. Those are your two options. And then this, he's like Captain America kind of. It's weird that they keep calling him Captain America.
Yeah, it's already worked.
Because he's not. He's Falcon.
Captain and he's Captain.
But did anybody know who Falcon was?
He's Captain Falcon. Nailed it.
Falcon punch! Falcon kick!
I hope he does that in the movie. If he does that and takes out Red Hulk, Falcon punch! I really hope so.
Flames?
I know.
A flaming bird
Falcon comes
out of it. Okay, if that movie does this, it will have redeemed itself entirely in my eyes.
The rest of the movie don't care as long as he does a Falcon punch. All right, Marvel, let's see it. Well, that's been
Would they get copyright for that?
I don't know.
I don't think they would, because I think it'd be parody. They can't make him look like the Captain Falcon we're all talking about. They can't make him look like it, but he kind of does almost.
Almost enough to pull off the joke.
He looks enough like.
There you go. We fixed Marvel.
Actually, Captain Falcon lives in the future. And it is dystopic. It's this futuristic society where a bunch of billionaires make these race car tracks in space because they're bored. And
so they're going to start this movie off with him racing?
Yes, that's what they
I love how Nintendo made its way in here.
Maybe this is the plan.
Or wait, is he a Genesis project? Or is he Nintendo? Originally.
No, he's Nintendo.
Oh, he's Nintendo.
Yeah,
okay.
he's totally Nintendo. So, yeah, I would... This is the new vision. I would do this. Call up Nintendo.
Based off a stupid joke.
Okay, you said some earlier stuff, and I forgot to comment on them. I'm sorry, but I forgot what I was going to say.
Oh, well. I think I've said enough about this poor trailer.
It's fine. It's just a Marvel movie.
It'll be a very passable movie. Probably.
Yeah. But that's where they all are at. They're passable movies until proven otherwise with Marvel,
until
I feel.
proven otherwise.
Yeah.
Which they typically don't.
Mr. Negative.
I'm a realist. Well, that has been our react to Brave New World. Thanks for watching.